Hey guys, Buffing Game back today, bringing our video for our movie weapon series, and today we'll be covering another build from Sicario, 2015's Sicario, being the first one in the series, and we're going to be covering Alejandro's MP5A3, Alejandro being played by Benicio Del Toro. So he uses this MP5A3 on the bridge scene when they're extracting back over the Mexican border. They went into Mexico to get an VIP target, and they go ahead and they're extracting out of the country. They get stuck on the bridge over for the road for the border crossing. They get engaged by some cartel members, and this is the MP5A3 that Alejandro uses in that scene. So we back out. We see the final design here for the MP5A3. Go ahead and back out. Strip this thing down to base. I'm just going to use the base MP5 here. In game, we don't need to use a specific blueprint or anything. However, you can if you want a different body for the weapon, but there's really no major differences for this. So we'll go ahead and use the base MP5. First off, for the muzzle attachment, we're going to want the monolithic suppressor here. This will give us the sound suppression and the damage at range. Cons being the aim down sight speed and the aim walking steadiness. Barrel options. So in the movie, Alejandro or Benicio Del Toro's character is using what looks like a Knights Armament Company railed handguard maybe, so it looks like probably the FSS Lite. You get something similar with the monolithic integral suppressed one, but the FSS Lite, again, the MP5A3, similar to what the build was in Modern Warfare 3. So the FSS Lite going to give us the aim down sight speed. The cons are the bullet velocity. So we'll go ahead and select that, and you can see there we have the tri-rail there for the 3, 6, and 9 o'clock positions. We have that Picatinny on there. So that'll give us or at least replicating the Knights Armament Company rail. And then for the suppressor, again, we went the monolithic suppressor there. It looks similar, or at least close to what he's using in the movie. So we'll select that. Next up, for the laser option, we'll go ahead and use the tac laser for this. I don't know if he actually has a laser equipped on this, but we do have an extra slot. So we'll go ahead and use the tac laser because in the movie, in the build here, there's no grip on this. So we'll use this just to give us a little bit more aiming stability with the weapon. So we'll go ahead and select that, being the aim down sight speed, aiming stability, and the aim walking steadiness. The cons of the laser will be visible to enemies. So we can select that. Now for the optic here, we can go ahead and use the aim point optic. So in the movie, he's using an aim point optic, not this specific variant of the aim point optic, but he is using an aim point optic. So we'll go ahead and select that. Just a persistent sight pitch, there's a red dot sight. The cons here are going to be the aim down sight speed, just because it's a optic. It'll give you the same ADS negation as you would with any other red dot option. So go ahead and select that. And then for the final attachment here, we'll go ahead and go for the perk, and we're going to go ahead and do sleight of hand just to give us faster reload speed, because we don't want the 40-round magazine, the 45-round magazine here. You could do this as an option also, but in the movie it appears that he's obviously just using a standard 30-round 9x19 magazine. So one thing we can do is we'll take off the tac laser here, and we'll go ahead to stay more closer to the film. We'll go ahead and for the grip, we'll put on the rubberized grip tape because this won't ruin the aesthetics of the build. We'll put on the grip tape just because it'll help us with the recoil control here and the cons being the aiming stability. We'll put on that because, like I said, there's no grip being used, foregrip here in the movie build. So this will help us just keep the weapon a little bit more stable and with that recoil control, since we don't have a foregrip there. So this is our final design for the MP5A3 used by Alejandro or Benicio Del Toro's character in Sicario on that scene where they're trying to cross back from the border after getting that very important person or the HVT that they got from a Mexican prison and cross back into the U.S. and they get engaged by cartel members at the border crossing. So that's the MP5A3 here. For the operator here, I'm going to be running, even though it's not anything like Alejandro, but I am going to be running Otter in his insulator skin, just because it gives us at least a semi-closer depiction for the shirt that Alejandro is wearing and the jeans, things like that. Definitely, obviously not the same plate carrier, and there's no headgear in the movie, but that's just what I'm running with this. There's really nothing we can get. There's no Mexican operators in the game, so we can't get anything close, and nobody really looks close to what Alejandro looks like in the game. So we'll go ahead and select that. One more look at the MP5A3 here, and you can see there the final design. We'll go ahead now and jump into the gameplay. But first off, with the buttstock here, the buttstock option in the movie, you'll notice if you have seen this, he starts out with the stock collapse, but then before he gets in the engagements, he extends that stock option. So that's why we're going with the base stock. So I just want to make a note of that there. You could do either or if you really wanted to, but we'll go ahead and stay like that. So go ahead now, jump into the gameplay here. Again, just using this on Euphrates Bridge just because trying to get something with a road similar to what would look like the border crossing. Obviously, this is not as close as a depiction, but I wish we really had like a highway map. I think that would be really fun, like a highway map fighting between cars. Similar to what they have in the movie would be awesome. So that would have been a pretty cool map idea. But again, just using this here, and again, it's actually a pretty decent build. Kind of what makes me want to try something similar like this. Definitely a multiplayer again. This build very effective. However, I would definitely recommend if you want to be competitive, probably want a foregrip on there just to assist with the aiming stability and the recoil control there. But works out pretty well. You can see it here in action. I'm also running the M19 pistol here on my sidearm, and again, this thing with a 31 round magazine is definitely go on a tear with this. And I actually run out of ammo with my MP5 and come down to 3 rounds left in my pistol at one point. So I was definitely popping off a lot of rounds there and getting into some good gunfights. So leave you guys with that gameplay. Now, Sicario, again, this came out, the first one we're covering here came out in 2015, and it was starring Benicio Del Toro, Emily Blunt, as well as Josh Brolin. So this was directed by Dennis Villeneuve. I'm definitely not saying his name right, but he directed this one. I don't believe he directed the second one, but this movie, again, 2015, really good movie if you haven't seen it. Basically, the summary of this is an FBI agent is enlisted by a government task force to aid in an escalating war against drugs at the border area between the U.S. and Mexico. So that's the description of the plot on IMDb. It's a really good movie with Emily Blunt being the FBI agent who's essentially recruited by Josh Brolin's character to fight this war on drugs, and they're putting together a task force. But there obviously ends up being alternative means, and the story itself is really good. The gunfights are especially good, and you just see the evolution of the character. This was actually one of my favorite movies just because of how well the plot played out, and the character development was also very, very good. So 2015 Sicario, definitely if you haven't watched it, check it out. And again, the MP5A3 here, I won't spoil the scene itself, but as I said, they're crossing back into the United States from Mexico after getting a VIP or an HVT that they need for questioning, and they get engaged by cartel members on the road or the highway leading to the border crossing. And Alejandro has this MP5A3 that you see him in the back seat. Get ready once they spot enemy cartel members pulling up in cars a few cars back and to the side, and you'll see him extend that buttstock and shortle the weapon, and then they end up getting out of the car and things go down. So let me know down below what you guys think of the weapon itself. Have you seen the movie? If not, let me know down below if you're planning on watching it, and once you have watched it, what you thought of it. I'm going to leave you guys with that. This is Buckner Gaming with Alejandro's MP5A3 from Sicario. Till next time, Buckner Gaming, out.